Yeah, somebody made some threats to Epic Games, the Fortnite creator, and, well, unfortunately for that person, they absolutely have paid the price, or will pay the price very soon. We still don't know what the sentencing is going to be, but they have admitted guilt. You know, you really should just, as a general rule of thumb, never threaten anybody ever. I don't care if it's in person or over a microphone or over text chat. It really just, it ain't gonna be the best outcome for you. Now, I really don't know exactly what this guy was doing, like what he was thinking, what he thought the end game was going to be, what made him angry with Epic Games in the first place, but yeah, I think it's kind of obvious to say Epic Games did not deserve this. So this is from Game Developer. It says a South Dakota teenager pled guilty on Monday to charges related to threats he admitted to sending to Fortnite maker Epic Games. So it says the teenager Jaden Griffin was indicted by a grand jury in the U.S. District Court in South Dakota's Western Division in December 2024, so that was about 10 months ago, and this was for sending threats over the course of a 2-month period between October and November of 2024. These were threats to an electronic reporting service utilized by Epic Games. And we can go back to this court filing right here. So this is, again, December 2024, the U.S. versus Jaden Griffin. It's not Epic Games versus Jaden Griffin because in this case, it's not like somebody suing somebody for copyright infringement or something like that. These allegations involve threats, so it's not going to be Epic Games that is the plaintiff. It's just going to be an actual county or federal attorney. So this filing from December 2024 says that beginning on October 24th of that year and continuing through November 9th, 2024 in the District of South Dakota, the defendant, Jaden Griffin, transmitted in interstate and foreign commerce electronic communications by use of the internet from an electronic device in South Dakota to an electronic reporting service utilized by Epic Games Incorporated in North Carolina. This is all a big mouthful. And this is the important part: containing threats to injure the person of another. And in this case, it is referring to employees of Epic Games Incorporated. So I'm curious how exactly this went down. So I don't know if this was like the actual in-game reporting feature, like where you're reporting somebody for hacking or cheating or something like that. I would think probably not, because I don't think you can really add text to that. Like if you come across somebody in Fortnite, you think they're cheating, there's just kind of some pre-selected options you can use to report that player. I don't think you can really like type text in there. My total assumption, not based on anything else other than just my hunch, I would assume this is more in terms of one of those online features where you can report a bug or something manually, like maybe on the Epic Games website, something like that. I don't know exactly what these threats consisted of, but we know that the allegations are that these were threats to injure the employees of Epic Games. Don't really know anything beyond that. Now, the update. So this came about 2 weeks ago. This was filed September 16th, and this was a statement, it looks like, on behalf of the defendant. So it says, the defendant states the following facts are true and the parties agree they establish a factual basis for the offense to which the defendant is pleading guilty. So here's the statement. It says, my name is Jaden Griffin, beginning on October 24th, 2024, and continuing through November 9th of that year. I sent messages to Epic Games Incorporated where I threatened to take out employees of the company. I intended for the messages to be viewed as a threat at the time that I sent the messages. I sent the threats through the wires by use of the internet from Rapid City, South Dakota. Epic Games Incorporated is headquartered in North Carolina and therefore affected interstate commerce. So again, this is kind of vague, but this to me is basically saying that these allegations that were made in December are true. Now, Game Developer does go on to state that after that, Judge Donetta Woolman accepted this plea during a hearing on September 29th. Now, that was just on Monday. And it does add that the charges against Griffin, which are for threatening interstate communications, they have a maximum penalty of 5 years in prison, a $250,000 fine, and 3 years of supervised release. And the court has not yet set a date for the sentencing. A few things to keep in mind. One being that this court filing is public information, so this isn't any kind of like doxing or anything like that. Don't go and harass this person if anybody knows who this is. Obviously, I never encourage harassment in any case, but I mean, especially here, I mean, he's definitely getting a punishment here. And as for that punishment, so as I said, the maximum penalty is 5 years in prison, $250K worth of fine, and 3 years of a supervised release. That would be either parole if he was released from prison, or just probation if the prison is suspended, I would assume. But given that this is a plea, I would assume that he's probably not going to do any time in prison. He's probably just going to end up doing 3 years on probation, and he probably will still have to pay a pretty hefty fine. I just don't know if it's quite going to be $250,000. Again, that's just totally my opinion. It's not based on any kind of legal advice or insight or anything like that. We will see what happens with this sentencing. But yeah, overall, hopefully this is a lesson to anybody who would, for some reason, want to do something like this. Again, I really don't know what the point of this really was. Why would you want to threaten Epic Games? I mean, were you really mad because you didn't get that victory royale or something? I really don't get it. I don't know, just direct that anger at something more pro-social. I don't know, that's how I always see it. But anyway, yeah, not too good for Jaden. He is, from what it sounds like, definitely going to pay the price. Overall, too, in this article, it does talk about how these incidents of threats on video game developers and publishers have apparently ramped up in recent years. Now, I am unaware of the absolute validity of that claim. I don't know if that is actually happening, but if it is, that is very sad. Hopefully, we can get to a point where just crap like this stops, and overall, people understand that the punishment for something like this is not something to be taken lightly.